guys, today I am doing the Bookish Scenarios tag. This tag is really old. It is the oldest tag on my tags to-do list. It was created over 2 years ago and has been on my wish list since then. So good job me, it's finally time. I really like this tag because it has kind of super simple questions that just kind of confront you with scenarios. I feel like, quite honestly, most of my answers are not really surprising. I feel like some of you will know all of these answers, or almost all of these answers. So I don't know what that says about me and my content, but oh well. So the first question is, you have to get rid of all your books and you can only keep one from each of these genres, which are contemporary, fantasy, non-fiction, and one other genre of your choosing. What books do you keep? So first off, I just want to mention that non-fiction is something I just absolutely do not care about. Since fantasy is my favorite genre, I just decided to change non-fiction into fantasy as well, because I just want to keep more than one fantasy book. I do have series for all of these genres, but because I really wanted to challenge myself, I decided to pick one book out of each of these series. If someone was like, no, you can't keep a series, you just can't keep one single book. So for contemporary, I have chosen the Anna and the French Kiss trilogy, and my one book of choice in this trilogy would be Lola and the Boy Next Door. This was the one that I loved most of the whole trilogy. This contemporary novel has such a special place in my heart. I read it so quickly and I was just really amazed by how much I love this contemporary story, and so I feel like this is what I would want to keep. Next we have fantasy, where I obviously had some problems with trying to figure out what I wanted to keep, but my first choice, even though it still hurt me to, leave all of these other books behind, but my obvious first choice was the Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. This isn't even a finished trilogy. I do not know what the third book is gonna be like, but at this point there's only 2 books out, so I am gonna go for A Gathering of Shadows. I feel like that is definitely the one that kind of is most special to me. And then for non-fiction, but in my case, the other fantasy series, surprise, surprise, that's gonna be the Graceling Realm trilogy. If I could only keep one of these books, it would be Bitter Blue, even though this really hurts me. I love all of these so fucking much, but Bitter Blue is my favorite. It brings all characters together, so I feel like that's just kind of a good choice. And finally, for the last genre, where you could choose a genre that you kind of want to choose, I have decided to go with dystopian, just because what would my bookshelf be without the Hunger Games trilogy? And also probably no surprise to you that I would keep Catching Fire. I am not ever getting sick of rereading it, so I feel like it's just the perfect choice for me to keep. The second scenario is, you're at the bookstore and you hear a teenager telling their mom they don't like to read, but their mom insists they pick something. You walk over and recommend a book you think is great for people who aren't big on reading. What book is it? And I mean, this is definitely not an easy one. Like, I do not know this kid at all, but since it is a teenager, I definitely felt like I should go for something that is YA. I just think that The Hunger Games is something that you will probably enjoy. I have heard so many people say that they love this, that they just really find that it kind of brought them into reading, just like Twilight is for some people. I feel like this is a very well-written trilogy. It has action, it has romance, it has so many things for everybody. The third scenario is, you're not feeling yourself and need a pick-me-up. Which book do you read to put yourself in a good mood? And I'm sorry to repeat myself again, but I am choosing Graceling, basically the whole trilogy, but I feel like many of my favorite series or books in general are just books that make me suffer. Like, I like suffering, I like sad books, I like books that make me cry, that make me angry. It's just really something that, makes me feel really invested in a book. If I wanted to be in a great mood, I couldn't just go with, oh, I'm gonna read my favorite book like Catching Fire, like A Gathering of Shadows, because it would make me suffer in many ways. But I feel like the Graceling Realm trilogy is just really a series that just makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. I don't think there's too much drama. I don't know, I just have a really homey feeling. Like, I feel like I'm coming home when I read this trilogy, so I feel like that's the perfect answer. The fourth question is, you go back in time for a day to your teenage years. What book would you most likely have caught yourself reading? I wasn't a big reader when I was a teenager. It's just not something that I did a lot because I didn't really know where to look for good books, and I read a lot of chick lit and just in general more adult stuff and just romance books and contemporary books. But I feel like obvious answer also probably for many people would be the Twilight Saga. That is like the #1 series that just kind of shaped my teenage reading years. If I had already known that rereading is a thing back then, that would probably be the books that I would have reread like every few months. So I guess you would find me reading these. The 5th question is, your friend surprises you with a 4-day trip and you have 1 hour to pack. Which book do you bring to read on the way? And I mean, my first obvious answer for this is my Kindle. But if I would have to take one physical book, that would obviously be The Fiery Cross by Diana Gabaldon, because this is so long. And if this was the only book that I would take with me, there would be an actual chance for me to pick this up finally. So I guess it would just be a wise choice, not only because it's long and wouldn't get done with it on this trip and, you know, be like, oh my god, I need another book, but also because I just couldn't really escape reading it. The 6th question is, your house has been robbed. Don't worry, everyone is safe, but your bookshelf has been raided. What's the book you really hope is safe? And I cannot choose one single book because I don't have like any special edition, any like really expensive edition, any signed edition that means a lot to me because I met the author myself. The only books I have that mean a lot to me are all of my Victoria Schwab books. I just think it would absolutely break my heart for my copy of The Archived to be gone, because this was the first Victoria Schwab book that I read. It means a lot to me because this was the book that I picked up and fell in love with this author. I just wouldn't ever want to lose this copy. I know that the Near Witch is not even printed anymore, so theoretically I can't even get a copy of that anymore. That would make me so sad. I want my Victoria Schwab books to be safe. And the final question is, your friend borrows a book and returns it in awful condition. Do you A, just pretend you haven't noticed, B, ask them to repurchase it, or C, secretly do the same to something of theirs? So first of all, I do not lend out books to anybody. Like, I just want my books to be here. I just want them here. I want to hug them. I want to have them to film, you know, to show them in my videos. But if that was really the case, I would definitely ask them to buy me a new copy. Or I guess I would ask them like, what happened? I would kind of expect them honestly to just tell me what happened and not to just return it to me without saying anything about the way it looks. I would expect them to tell me this is what happened. I would definitely want them to repurchase it. That's just kind of something that I expect because it's something that I would do myself. And this was my bookish scenario tag. I'm not gonna tag anyone because, as I said, this tag is 2 years old. I would really love to know in the comments if there is one book on your shelf that, if everything got robbed, there's this one book that you just want to be safe. I would love to know if you have anything like that. Maybe something special that means a lot to you because a friend gave it to you, because a parent gave it to you, because you got it signed by the author, because you found it in a really special place. I would just love to hear or read your stories on this. And thank you so much for watching. I guess I'll see you soon. Bye!